Welcome back, and great to be back with you again here. So just to round off, I mean, we're talking about the Youth Career Initiative, and it's a global initiative and one that's really being felt, the benefit here in Mexico, right, Sylvia? And I mean, already over 54,000 people have benefited from it because industry has got involved. And I think now let's take a look at how more people, the individuals, can get involved and how enterprise can get involved in this program.
And you know what I really like? Whenever we give more, whether you are a person or a company, and then you give to someone, then you grow more.
Absolutely.
So of course these companies, you know, they are growing a lot more, and so are the children, and so are them and their families.
The rewards are they never stop giving back, the rewards, right? I mean, it's almost like a sponsorship program to me. If you've sponsored somebody and you've watched them to get through an academy and you see them get through to the other side and you see what a difference it's made, that intervention, from a personal level as an employer and also as a corporation, it's so gratifying, right, to be able to reach out and help anybody.
Exactly. So what I do as a person in the meantime, I've been giving some conferences to federal primary schools or elementary schools here in Cancun, and I have discovered that by talking to their parents, of course, they need a lot of help, you know, to be able to guide their children in the right direction, in the best possible way. And of course, they are very poor locations in general. And but what I discovered, Elliot, is that when I come back, because I leave them some tasks. You know, when I go there and I talk to them and I tell them, okay, next time I come, I want you to finish or to do or to tell them or to follow, right, this and that. So, and I do come back. And when I come back, then I ask them. And I am very surprised that children or their parents, they do remember, they do their tasks. And I love that. And you said earlier, it's priceless, and it is priceless. Because they tell me, you know, Sylvia, we did this already and it worked. And now my children, he didn't do that, but now he is doing it. And, you know, it's for the good of everybody.
Well, it really is. It's the concept of paying it forward, which I really like. You know, you've received the benefit and now you want to pass it to somebody else because it's so intrinsic in us as human beings. You have something good has happened to you and you want other people to share that joy and that benefit, right? And it's very contagious once it starts.
It is contagious. Also with the children. I have a short story about the DIF, the DIF. It's an institution, like you mentioned earlier, that helps children in risk. Normally they don't have parents. So, and they have some school inside of the organization as well. So they are very young kids, like between the ages of 6 and 10, 12 years old, more or less. And I went there one time. I was there every Saturday. And so, you know, trying to lift them up, try to motivate them. And then they had a blackboard and they were rating the kids with stars. So whether they had good discipline or good development in general in their classes, they would have 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10 stars. So all of them, they had between 3 and 5 stars. No one had 6 stars, no one. So I started talking to them and giving them a little training. And then I told them, you know, next time I come back, I want all of you to get 10 stars. Then for some reason, I couldn't make it for the next 2 weeks after that. But then when I went back, the kids, they were waiting for me. They would call me, teacher, come. And
they would show you results, right?
So we have a surprise for you. And I had forgot about it. Then so they pushed me to that room where the blackboard was. And I saw like everyone had 10 stars. And I was crying there because like, wow, I mean, what a difference we can make when we pay attention into something that is so important. And I never saw those children again, but I know one thing, Elliot. I know that if they did that, they actually had a learning, which means they will realize that, of course, they can trust on themselves and they can have a much better life. And also I taught them that it's always up to you. It's always up to them. It's always up to everyone to be able to grow.
But that's priceless for them, Sylvia. I mean, they'll never forget that you came that day because you showing them that love, that nurturing that you gave them was priceless because, let's face it, maybe they really had never had that kind of contact before, that focus or that attention and that, the fact that their faces, I can imagine, just lit up when they saw you come back in.
They were
and like grab you by the hand and it's really amazing. I've taught English just voluntarily in primary schools, and I've gone in the same thing, and and I've seen some of those kids around, and then they say, hello, Mr. Elliot, and you feel like you've bonded, you've done something cool, and I think we've all got something inside us, it costs nothing,
Exactly.
to pay it forward.
Exactly. No, and all the transformation that really we do in their lives, and it's a huge motivation for everybody. And I'm very lucky, and so do you, I believe.
No, totally.
And many of us were lucky that we really had parents who really knew how to guide us most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Mm-hmm. But of course, we didn't escape from having difficulties in life. But even though we're here, we're moving on, we're moving up, and it's like we're like beasts, right?
Absolutely.
In a good way, in a good sense.
Well, there's so many young people that they're looking for somebody, a role model. They're looking up for somebody to pull them up. They're just so nearly there. And it's like, if you look after your garden, if you water it every day, you're going to have a really good garden.
Definitely.
So, I mean, if it's a metaphor, whatever it needs you to kind of get involved, take action, check out the Youth Career Initiative. It's such a wholesome, wonderful project.
Take a look of your neighbors also, as far as not with the loop.
No.
But also,
but
take a look if neighbors, I mean, communities, societies in general, like nearby, and or maybe searching on the internet on your community. If you find some association where you can actually assist or help or provide with something, because normally associations they need help in general.
Yeah, it doesn't cost really a lot of money to set up a little learning workshop, and just to have, a couple of times a week, a craft, a trade, a language, something which is a skill set that you have, and with your community too. I mean, getting to know one another better. I mean, how many people, neighbors, get yourselves together, use your skills and help young people, because those outreach programs, they cost nothing. And you're feeding children into a wider system, like you say, taking it back to the beginning. It's a community-driven type of initiative.
Exactly.
And it's not about getting venture capital money together, like millions of dollars. This costs nothing. It's just a bit of effort.
Exactly, and it's just an effort. And for us, we really clap and give an ovation to YCI, because they really
hats off.
Have done such an amazing job globally. They started with one country, then 3 countries, and then basically the rest of the world. So I'm sure there's a YCI nearby where you are, or an state close to you, maybe in the main points of many of the countries in the world. And it's called YCI. It's Youth Career Initiative, and that's exactly what they do. You should find about it in their, they have their website as well.
You can wiki it, it's all there as well. You can find out where your nearest YCI center is, how to get involved. It's voluntary, of course, as well. Exactly what we said, it's gratifying. And again, you can also find young people as well that you can filter into the system. It's a two-way street, but it's incredibly fulfilling.
Exactly. So in this world that we have in general, with so many political issues, like we've been discussing before,
yeah,
and there is always a fun part. There is always the good side in the world. There is always the human side of anybody.
Yeah.
And but also there is a development, which is very important, because if we don't have development in general, the more developed we are as human beings, the better community we will be globally wise.
Absolutely. We're a knowledge society, and being able to pass knowledge on, whether it's between developed and undeveloped countries, but coming together, and like we said, okay, politically we need countries to really dialogue to avoid these crises, but to help young people to prosper, to have better lives.
Actually, I can see right now, I mean, the world is kind of divided, and, but now the young people, for the future, I'm sure they're going to set together some programs, policies, regulations, laws, etc., and different ways of communication to each country. Right now, while people are screaming, build a wall, I'm sure in the future, a lot of children and people are going to be yelling, break the wall,
Break the wall, like Berlin. Thank God we can go back to those days, huh?
Exactly. And so I'm sure things are going to turn around. And so we're very pleased that we are able to help with our seed to different people. It doesn't matter where they are from, they are people.
Absolutely. So we hope that facilitating this project will get you involved. We'll be back after a short break.